Well, hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Doing my weird Mrs. Doubtfire.
I love it.
Again.
It turns me on.
That's odd. That's for a different podcast. Today we're going to talk about a case that I only became familiar with because I just read this book during quarantine. It's called If You Tell by Gregg Olsen. And it's about this case. And it's a really horrifying case. But it's fascinating if you're like me and you like really fucked up stuff.
And it's true crime. It's true.
It's true. It's a true story.
Novel. It's a true story.
It was basically the case of Shelly Knotek, who was sentenced to more than 2 decades behind bars back in 2004 for the torture deaths of Kathy Loreno and Ronald Woodworth at her Raymond, Washington home. The Seattle Post-Intelligencer reported at the time. That's a terrible name for a newspaper, though.
It really is.
It's like, that's...
Who came up with that?
I don't know.
They should be fired.
She entered an Alford plea, which means that she did not technically admit guilt, but acknowledged a jury would find her guilty on charges of second-degree murder and manslaughter in both deaths. Her husband, David Knotek, was convicted of murder in a third death at the family's home, the fatal shooting of her teen nephew, Shane Watson. Knotek, now 65, is expected to be released from the Washington Correction Center for Women in the summer of 2022. How horrifying is that?
Oh, so she wasn't actually convicted by a jury of this murder.
She entered an Alford plea.
She did an Alford plea.
Yeah. Her 3 daughters, Nikki, who was at the time of this article was 44, Sammy 41, and Tori 30, were interviewed for a book on the case entitled If You Tell, A True Story of Murder, Family Secrets, and the Unbreakable Bond of Sisterhood. They actually reached out to the book's author, Gregg Olsen, 2 years ago because they were worried about their mother's release, the New York Post reports.
Okay, that's bad when your own kids don't want you out. Right?
Yeah, when your kids are like, please don't release that batshit crazy lady, because she was.
And not just 1, but 3. I would have to, if I was a probation committee, I would probably have to listen to them.
Yeah. My mother was like a ticking time bomb, Nikki recalled in the book. I never knew when she would go off. In the book, Knotek's daughters accuse her of physically and mentally abusing them over the course of the years. Among the many horrific and bizarre accusations, the women said that as girls, their mom regularly forced them to sleep outside. They claimed she often sadistically forced them to get naked, roll around in the mud while she sprayed cold water on them with a hose as punishment for wrongdoings. And so I'm going to side note that sometimes that was in the winter also. For wrongdoing such as using the bathroom without permission. Yes, they had to ask permission to use the bathroom.
This is a classic narcissistic mother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Knotek allegedly even forced one of her daughters to slow dance naked with Watson, the girl's now dead cousin. The mother also allegedly shaved her own eyebrows to fake having cancer, according to her daughters.
Jesus.
The women recall that Loreno, a friend of Knotek who'd moved into the home in 1988, offered to babysit in exchange for room and board, starved to death while imprisoned in the home's laundry room 6 years later. Knotek's daughters said their mother began drugging and starving Loreno after a time, though the acts of abuse were mixed in with periods of affection. Kathy was a pleaser and never did anything to trigger such treatment, Olsen told the Post. Shelley delighted in making other people hurt. It made her feel superior. She has never been formally diagnosed as a psychopath, but showed all the traits.
This is like whatever happened to Baby Jane type syndrome, locking her in a room and then just
and
one day bring her real food,
and these outsiders
bring like a dead bird.
And these boarders tried to escape, and she stopped them. She went out and got them and brought them back. Like, she didn't let them escape.
Jeez.
Yeah,
this is scary stuff.
Yeah, but a year after, the boarder Kathy had died from starvation, basically. A year later, the girl's cousin, Watson, vanished. They at first wanted to believe their mother's cover story that he moved to Alaska to start a new life as a fisherman. It was later revealed that he was shot to death by David Knotek, allegedly at Shelly's urging. Her daughters think he was killed in order to cover up Loreno's death because he saw a lot and
knew about it. Yeah.
He was living with them at the time.
She hadn't been arrested for the starvation death of the other woman.
No, she was. It was that one and one of the other ones that she got arrested for, but she didn't get in trouble, even though she was the instigator for her nephew's death too.
Okay.
She talked her husband into shooting him because of several other. I can't remember exactly, but she had lied to him about him doing other stuff. And basically got the husband mad enough to actually do it. You know? She lied. She basically made up shit about him to get him to kill him. And he was just a teenager. I mean, he was a kid.
And it makes me wonder about what kind of husband would be married anyway to this type of person.
He wasn't there most of the time. He worked.
Like an over-the-road truck
he
driver
worked.
or something?
He worked at like a construction site, and and it was far enough away that he just stayed there most of the time, and he would come home occasionally on weekends and stuff like that. But
apparently he knew that she had killed his boarder, right?
Technically, yes, but he was kind of in denial.
Yeah, don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah, he was kind of in denial because he wasn't there most of the time, and he believed whatever people told him about what was going on at the house. You know? So... basically, Woodworth was another boarder that moved in. I believe he was a gay man that moved in with them. Moved in with the family in 1999 as another boarder, and just as Loreno had years earlier, began suffering abuse before long. According to the book, he was forced to drink his own urine and coerced to jump from the roof of the 2-story home onto the gravel. His wounds from the jump were doused in boiling water and bleach, otherwise untreated, and they ultimately led to his death in 2003.
Was that ruled an accident?
I don't think so.
Being that he jumped?
I don't think so, but she completely psychologically, both of those boarders, she completely psychologically manipulated.
How she got away with the first one.
She manipulated
for another
them.
one to move in, before the police got involved.
She basically controlled them to the point where she wouldn't let them be in contact with their family or friends or anybody.
Okay.
And she just basically stripped them down to where they were scared to leave.
It was almost like a Stockholm Syndrome, maybe?
Almost. Because she would, be like, only I care about you. You know, nobody else cares about you.
Stockholm Syndrome.
That kind of stuff. But she was very manipulative, and these people were honestly scared because they tried to escape at several points and were not able to because she would go get them. She would go drive and go get them.
See, that makes me think not Stockholm Syndrome then, because Stockholm Syndrome, they wouldn't even try to escape anymore.
But even then, it took a lot of abuse for them to finally try to leave because they were so fucking scared of her, I'm going
to have to pull up a picture of this woman. I'm interested to see what she looks like.
I have a picture on my computer. Let me pull that up because she was a hot redhead.
Of course she was a redhead.
Makes sense, right?
All the crazies are.
Let me find. I have it on here somewhere. Oh, these are the victims.
Aww.
I saved that too because I wanted to because I've been uploading the episodes to YouTube and put pictures with them and stuff. So for people that aren't into the podcast apps and stuff like that, because I know there are people like that, they're not familiar with that and they don't want to download it. There it is.
She was pretty.
No, and she was batshit crazy. Tori, who was then just 14 and still living at home, talked to her sisters, and they decided to call the police on their mom following Woodworth's death. Their decision led to the arrest of Shelly and her husband.
Of all the things it takes the kid, the 14-year-old, to finally
she basically got the sisters to come get her because she was too scared to do anything while she was still there.
Sure.
And the other sisters were already out of the house and wanted nothing to do with any of it.
I can't believe they didn't take the 14-year-old with them. I mean, what? I'm sorry, I'm kind of mad at the sisters for that. I would be taking the young one with me.
At that point, she was the baby, and she bought into her mother's crap at that point.
Oh, she didn't want to go.
But once the others were gone, then she started getting the abuse.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Olsen told the New York Post that Knotek's daughters wanted to warn the society about the danger posed by their mother, a woman he likens in his book to literary and movie villains like Cujo, Freddy Krueger, and Pennywise. They feel it's their duty to expose their mother's true nature as a predator, he said. And then I've got a whole section where I talk about the victims because I feel like that's only fair.
Sure.
That other only tells you kind of the basics of the whole case. But I wanted y'all to know a little bit about the victims that got killed supposedly by her.
They honestly matter more than anyone.
Yes. Kathy Loreno was the first victim. She was a hairdresser working in South Bend, Washington when she met Michelle. They became friends in 1991 after an argument between Loreno and her family. She moved out of their home and into the home of Michelle and David. So she always spins it like, come live with me and I'll take care of you and you can just babysit the kids and I'll let you live here. Kind of stuff.
I know people like that, that they get in fights with their families and just don't want to live there anymore, so they leave and go move in with their best friend. Yeah.
But that's how she spent it. And then, so she moves in with them, and during her stay, she suffered physical abuse. In 1994, she was reported missing by family members. When interviewed by authorities, the Knotek stated that Loreno had run away with a truck driver and moved to Hawaii. And
you can't drive a fucking truck to Hawaii, so... that story's got a hole in it.
Well, she ran away with a truck driver and moved to Hawaii. He may have quit his job or whatever, but yeah. But she maintained that she and Loreno were still in regular contact. However, a private investigator hired by Loreno's brother concluded that she had probably been murdered by Michelle. David claimed that Loreno died by asphyxiating on her own vomit, but he did not take her to a hospital or report her death to the police because of physical injuries to Loreno. So they were afraid to take her to the hospital because she had
physical
bruises and marks and stuff.
Abused. Yeah. And they were probably, if she got any kind of check or anything.
And they were drugging her too, so either way they would have been blamed for the death, and righteously so.
Sure.
The next one was Shane Watson, which was the cousin, her Shelly's nephew.
He would be my age right now.
Mm-hmm. Shane was born in 1975 in Tacoma, was Michelle's nephew. He moved in with them around 1993, shortly after Loreno's disappearance in 1994. Watson seemingly vanished, too. The Knoteks initially claimed that Watson had run away to Alaska to work on a fishing vessel. Knotek later claimed that he had shot Watson with a .22. Investigators alleged that David killed Watson because Michelle was enraged that Watson took pictures documenting the abuse of Loreno. David also stated that he burned the bodies of Shane and Kathy Loreno and scattered their ashes at the beach.
So the bodies were actually never recovered?
From those, yeah. They burned them. Ronald Woodworth was a local man who went to live with the Knoteks in 2001. Like Kathy, he was also subject to severe physical abuse. Witnesses described seeing Woodworth being forced to do chores outside wearing only his underwear and to jump from the second-story roof onto gravel wearing nothing on his feet, causing broken bones and severe lacerations. They also claimed that Michelle would burn Woodworth's injured feet with boiling water and pure bleach. Woodworth went missing in 2003. David Knotek later admitted to burying Woodworth's body on their property after Michelle told him that Woodworth had committed suicide. An autopsy performed by the King County Medical Examiner proved that Woodworth's death was murder. And then finally, there was no charge on this. It was just speculation. James McClintock, an 81-year-old Pearl Harbor veteran who often rode his motorized wheelchair to the grocery store, needed a caregiver and hired Michelle Knotek.
Had he not heard about her?
This was before she got caught, so...
Yeah.
6 months later, McClintock died from an unexplained blow to the head, leaving Knotek $5,000, his home, and his beloved dog, Sissy. McClintock may have met Knotek at a local social services agency where she worked, and after his death records show, David began using McClintock's social security number.
Holy shit.
So
how did she work in social services to begin with? I mean, I know she hadn't been caught yet or anything, but talk about being so manipulative that you can work your way into these type of places and get with people that, to murder.
Yeah. But basically, that's all I have on this case. But I don't know. I guess it's especially horrific because she just manipulated these people.
She's just a psychopath.
Yeah, she manipulated these people and abused them and covered it up for years. And
that was my wondering is how the hell did she get away with this for so many years? Because it was like what 1994.
She had a way. She had a way of finding these people that were on the outs with their family. So when the family didn't hear from them, nothing happened.
Yeah, that's understandable. Still scary as hell though. You never know who you're going to run into or become friends with. That's why I don't make new friends. I don't need new friends.
And all in the book. I think she even, when she was younger, they had a lot of problems out of her. She manipulated to get her way and just caused problems everywhere she went. I believe, but don't quote me on this because I can't. It's been a little bit since I read the book, and my memory's not as good as it used to be. But I think she'd even accused her dad or stepdad of abuse or something like that, just to cause problems. And
I could see that. I could see that she definitely has some kind of trauma in her own life to make her the way she is. It's still no excuse. By any means, no excuse. But from what you read there, she sounds like a classic narcissistic personality.
She just causes chaos wherever she goes.
Those are the people that you stay very far away from.
But I guess I have endured parental abuse myself, but I've the whole naked in the mud being sprayed with the hose in winter.
Yeah, not
that is just
that's the extreme.
That's horrifying.
They don't care if their kid lives or dies.
Yeah,
they have no conscience, and some people I believe have no conscience. They just kill to see what it feels like to kill someone. The John Wayne Gacy's and all of that. It's not that they actually take extreme pleasure in it. They just have no conscience, and they do it. I
actually think that she did not intend to kill these people. She just kept escalating She liked to torture people, yeah. And she kept escalating it to the point that these people kept dying.
It's kind of, even though this is in a non-sexual way, it kind of reminds me of the Toy Box Killer. He got off on the torture. The most extreme torture that you could possibly inflict on someone. I think she's the same way.
And she enjoyed controlling people, too, because, think about, she wouldn't let anybody in the whole family use the bathroom unless they asked permission. And even then, she would not necessarily give them permission.
And then what? What do they just pee themselves?
The girls said that in the middle of the night, they would collect their pee in a jar and then pour it out the window when she... the next day. But if she happened to check the room and found the pee, they got in a whole lot of trouble.
I would have been like, bitch, you should have let me pee. Mm-hmm. Why do I have to ask your permission anyway?
But it's horrifying.
And then the sad thing is, if the daughters had ended up retaliating and finally getting fed up and having enough and killing her, they would have been charged with murder.
Yeah.
But a lot of times also these people, if you go to the police are just thinking that you're some bratty kid that just wants to, get your parents in trouble, and they don't do anything about it. I mean, the Menendez brothers, for example. We need to do a podcast on the Menendez brothers. Mm-hmm. I believe that they should not be in prison. So,
I have heard their story about abuse and everything. I don't know. I would like to look more into that. We might have to do that sometime.
Sure. Yeah, this bitch does not need to get out of prison.
Yeah,
yet.
this bitch needs
I can't believe that she would even be considered for parole.
This bitch needs all that shit that she did to her kids and these other people done to her. That is my opinion. Maybe harsh, but I don't give a shit. Yeah. She needs to be stripped naked, sprayed with a hose in the middle of winter, left outside to sleep, beaten within an inch of her life. Like, just keep it going for the exact amount of time that she did it to all these other people.
Jump off a roof.
Like, I honestly believe she deserves that because she is a terrible fucking human being. But we're up to 23 countries and 42 states now. I just wanted to bring that up because, like,
that's amazing. I can't believe anybody would ever listen to us. We just two southern redheaded girls.
Yep, and they're including Isle of Man, New Zealand, and Ireland, which is like my top 3 places I would like to travel someday.
Same. Let's go. Let's just.
I know. Let's go.
As restrictions lift, let's just get on a plane and go.
If you're a fan from one of those places, hey, hit us up if you have a place we can crash.
And you're not a psycho killer.
Yeah, and you're not a psycho killer.
Background checks will be given.
I don't know. We're big ladies. I think we could probably take care of ourselves.
I'm pretty sure I could.
Yeah. Like, no, don't try anything with us. We're going to team up and kick your ass.
I'm fat and ugly. No, you don't want me.
She lies. Anyway, and 42 states here in the U.S. That's most of them. That's most of them.
Most of them.
We still got a few holdouts. Come on, the rest of you in these other states need to get with it. And start listening.
If we hit all 50 states, I will do a surprise.
Okay.
We'll do like a contest or something.
Yeah, like a giveaway or something.
A giveaway. There'll be a prize at the end. Yeah.
Our 1-year anniversary, I mentioned it in the other episode, but I'm not even sure which ones I'm going to do in what order. But we recorded another episode today and mentioned that the anniversary. Yeah. Our 1-year anniversary is coming up soon, so send us some questions, feedback, stories, whatever you want to send. Our contact info is in the show notes. I couldn't even think of what the word for it was anymore because it's
brain fog from quarantine.
Yeah, quarantine brain fog. 662-200-1909 is our phone number. If you want to leave a voicemail, we can play that during the anniversary episode. So you can just call and tell us, hey, I love you guys. Or tell us a story that's similar to one of ours. Or tell us how you know Shelly Knotek. I don't know.
Hopefully you don't.
Yeah, hopefully you don't. Or whatever you want to leave for us, leave a message and we'll play it in the episode. Even if you say, fuck off, you ugly bitches.
Suck.
Yeah, fuck off, you ugly bitches. We will play that too because...
Yes, we will.
We don't care.
And we will laugh at you.
Yes, we will laugh at you. They're all going to laugh at you. And our shout out again this week is The Crimes We're Into. They're brand new. Check them out. They're another true crime podcast, 2 sisters. So check them out. And I guess that's all. We're not going to do a break this week because this is a super, super short one. And we'll be back with more episodes sometime
as soon as we can.
Yep. So,
until then,
as always, talk hard. Bye-bye.